It's Daf Yerushalmi Terumos. The article goes about Darshan. We're at Daf based on Aleph at the Mishnah, which is Halacha Beis, Mishnah Gimel, and in the Vilna that is on Daf Aleph on Aleph, also Halacha Beis, and we're going to be discussed for our Yeshua and Eretz Yisrael. Today there were two terrorist attacks. We should see our enemies destroyed. So Halacha Beis, Mishnah Gimel, wrote the Paschama. If you to take a hot piece of bread out of the oven, that's to be chavish you put on top of a barrel of shoyayin truma, barrel of wine, truma wine, and also made asers because the bread absorbs the fragrance of the wine. The permits it. The Rabbi Yossi Mati B'Shel Chitim says if it's of wheat bread, then it's not a problem. Also B'Shel Sorim, he also says if it's barley bread, because barley does absorb the taste. Mishnah Daled Tano Shisi Koba Kamon, use caraway seeds as fuel. These are the seeds which go into rye bread. The caraway seeds show truma of avaba hapas muteres. The bread is mitzvah. Shade kam kamon ela reach kamon. Evidently, it's not. It doesn't have a taste of the bread of the caraway. It only has a fragrance of the caraway, and the fragrance is mutter because truma is mutter by no, so it's mutter even for zorin. Okay, so the obviously, Rabbi Meir holds that bread does absorb the mamashus of wine, not just the fragrance, but there's substance in that fragrance as well. So let's go to the Gemara. Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Zira said, "Bon kumi Rabbi Yanin." That's for Rabbi Yanin. That's like pichavis megufa. If you put it on top of a cover barrel, we assume our mission is about an open barrel. Okay, so what about a barrel which is covered? Mau, what's the status? Armor alone. So he said, "Yagil of Reu," that it's that its friend explain it. It's a pasuk eel, but here it means that let's look for a similar case. Ma'agil of Reu. What is a similar case? Rabbi Yossi said, "Kiyadad tinan shtamon," like we learned over there in the Machshirin. Chavis malaya peos. You have a barrel full of fruit. Nasuna l'toch hamashkin, and it's put into beverages. Oshamlea mashkin, or it's full of beverages. Peros, and it's put into fruit. So there is a Mishnah there, Mishnah similar to our Mishnah, but there's an absorption through the I think it's permeable, the permeable sac, and the permeated beverages are machshir the peros lakabel tuma. Okay, so that's that's part of the Mishnah, and then the Mishnah says, "B'shavu kosher." Continuation. The Mishnah says, "B'shavu kosher shavu chiyutam elu mashkin amru," which beverages about b'mayim v'yayin v'chometz, with about water, wine, and vinegar. And the next Mishnah says, "I wrote a pascham if somebody takes a hot piece of bread, puts it on a barrel of wine, right? Meir mitame, he's a mitire, Yossi v'chulei." So Meir says it's machshel kabel tuma. Rabbi says it's tar, it's kabel tuma, and Yossi, etc. Now the point is there obviously talking about bread which is not kneaded with water, because if it's kneaded with water, then the water in itself would be machshel kabel tuma. So there it's talking about the bread was kneaded with meperos. The question is now that it's which is not considered one of the shiva mashkin. But now, does the wine, the absorption of the wine, be machshir l'kabel tuma or not? So Meir holds yes. It's not just a fragrance; it's more than that. So therefore, it's machshir l'kabel tuma. There's mamashus of the wine, whereas Rabbi Yehuda holds it's not. So it seems that it should be that just like in the Reisha, you have the jug. I said sack before, but that was a mistake. You have the jug. I'm sorry. The jug, chavis, not sack. I don't know why I said sack. You have the jug full of fruit which is the obviously it's permeable. So therefore, we see that the this is what even though there's a kisui, there's a cover. Nevertheless, cheres is permeable. And here too, it's about a jug of cheres, so we assume that the cover is permeable, right? So we see that just like there, it's permeable as mashal kabatuma in the Seifa, next Mishnah. So to here, it's permeable, and machlokes should be shaykh between Meir and Rabbi Yehuda as well. Kamadat Amar Taman. Well, it says Gemara. Well, wait a second. Perhaps there was a difference there. Just like you say there, V'hushu mashkin nogim b'chavis. It says that it's a chavis malaya peros. So evidently that the mashkin are touching the chavis on one side and the fruit on the other side. So there's no gap. So since there's no hacha, we should take hikar nogas magufa. You'd have to do the same thing, that the bread is on one side of the cover and the wine comes up to the other side of the cover with no gap. So the Rabbi Manar said, umina, yeah, indeed we will learn that it's the case. Where would the Megufa not be have sacred? We have the same machlokas. Shemer and Yehuda. Kamad the tema tam bushio mashkin nogim mechavis atzma. Of hacha bushio the tema the kikar nagas Megufa atzma. Okay, so this has to be it would be exactly the same thing. Okay, it has to be touched on both sides. Okay, milsa amara, the connection to machshirin teaches afilu b'tzonanis. Even if it's cold, everything is cold. Why our mission said bro paschama, but that sounds like it's permeable even if it's cold, right? So Amrei Bar said kini b'tzonas have uvda. So the this is I should say just like Rabbi I didn't stress this enough before. Rabbi Yossi Kiyadot Tamon. Rabbi Yossi Damora. So based on Rabbi Yossi Damora's connection, so it would seem that we're talking about in our Mishnah should be the same halacha by cold bread. So it says paschama should be lavdafka because we assume we're talking about fruit, cold fruit. So probably the bread is also cold bread, right? So even that Mishnah there it says paschama also should be lavdafka. Our Mishnah lavdafka, that Mishnah lavdafka. Yeah, but Kini, but so now so who had to have uvdi. You're right. That's true. But I mean, if Adni Chama doesn't say hot. Rav Chista said, Shalo Tomar Hori of the Hahevel Kodesh Yemuta. Perhaps that the heat can remember the wine is touching the other side of the gufa. So I might say the heat turns the wine the other side into Zeya Ba'alma. I don't think it's far as anywhere in the Bavli, even though it's a Chista. It's a very fascinating svara, right? That even though it's yeah, and actually I have a comment here about that. Even though the heat might be a razor, the heat might diminish the absorption because it changes the moisture into evaporation. It's not going to penetrate. Kamashal that it is, and therefore even Meir would be murdered. Kamashal that the same machlokas applies. Okay, so yeah. Now I have here that written down inside my Gemara. The Bavli Avodah does not hold like a sugya, but and the issue is Recha Milsa and not Zeya, and that's why it has to be hot, because Recha is only going to Milsa when it's hot, and that is in fact the Psak reflected in the Psak of the Rambam. Rambam writes as follows. Well, actually, let's read the Shulchan Aruch first, and then the Rambam. The Pas Chamash Gabi Chavis Psucha Sheyain Nesach If you have a hot bread which is on top of an open barrel of yain nesach, it's usher. Pas nenes, if it's cold, even if the barrel is open, or pas cham or a hot bread and the barrel is closed, mutter. If it's barley, also ima pas chama if it's barley, it's also even if the bread is hot. I'm sorry, it's also the bread is hot, even if the barrel is covered. Okay, so clearly the Bavli and Yerushalmi are very different about this. And that's based on the Bavli and Paskin, like Rabbi Meir, and the I should say by well, that's not a riot necessarily because that's talking about Chumrah of Avodah Zarah. It's not bringing out the halacha by Truma. But by Truma means by Tuma is that Chavish and Perish Nasa Toch Mashkim Lam Mashkish Toch Perish the Shavu Huchshu, which is yes, the Matthias has to be where you have to see whether it's Shoev or not Shoev. What's the halacha by Truma though? So in the Bavli, in Avodah it says, Amar Abraham Reish Lakish Pas Chama Chabis Psucha Divrako Asura. So if it's hot bread and open barrel, everybody agrees it's awesome. Pas Nes Chabis Gufa, if it's cold bread and a covered barrel, Divrako Materis, everybody agrees it's mutter. So Lonek Glu Pas Chama Chabis Gufa. Machlek is it's by hot bread and open barrel. Pas Sonenes or closed barrel. Pas Sonenes or cold bread, Chabis Psucha and open barrel. So it's there on account of Recha Milsa and the issue of Zeah. The Rambam Pasuk is like our Mishnah, according to Rabbi Yossi. I forgot this Rabbi Yossi. Like Rabbi Yossi in the end of the Mishnah. Not like Rabbi Meir, like Rabbi Yossi. And he says here in Kavanaki, Tzarchim Shisam Mechalukim Hen Shebushalmi Ven Shebabavli, Chayishal Kesem Mishnah. And maybe Yushu b'shem Marie Kurkasham Paskin Shun Kaimon Rechel Milsai. So the Rambam holds Rechel Milsai. That's how he paskins when he paskins there. And if it's also, it's because either Mama, it's also because of Isser Hanoah of some sort, which is evidently which gets through despite the Rechel Milsa, and in the case of Truma that wouldn't apply. So, but in the but still, by some nations, Shavos, they must be absorb some mamashas, and not that they absorb just recha, because recha is not milsa, but there's a mamashas was absorbed, and this whole issue of the chama being a reason to be mako, that's not at all in the Bavli, and that's not all reflected in the Rambam. Okay, so Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. In the so in the Vilna it says Kamer Shem Lakish Omer Mayim Osim Peros Mashkin Enosim Peros. So the Kamer takes out the word Kama and just has Amar Shem Lakish. And the art scroll also takes the word Kama, not in the text, but based on the Gra, on the rest of it. Okay, so Amar Shem Lakish. Mayim Osim Peros. Water makes fruit when it seeps through a kli cheres, then the water which you see on the outside of the barrel has the halacha of water. That's machshir. So mayim osim peros means the water outside the barrel is water, right? Umashkin enosim peros. That which you see beverages on the outside, evidently other than water, even if it's a beverage on the inside, like wine, it's not considered to be a beverage. Lo tzukada the law k'Rabbi Yehuda. So the words of Shimon Lakish, we only need according to Rabbi Yehuda because the Tana in the prior Mishnah there, Machshirin, Chavis Peros, doesn't distinguish between water, wine, and vinegar. It says explicitly, "Be'elu mashkan mayim b'yayim rechemetz." Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah say explicitly it's talking about a barrel of wine, and they hold that it gives a time even when the barrel is covered. But Rabbi Yehuda's policy holds that the other beverages do not seep out; only water seeps out. And he argues on the prior Mishnah where it says that also wine and vinegar seep. But he's made by water. Okay, so that really seems to be the case, although he didn't specify that the case. Why did not he say that? Or why do you not say that? And Shimon Lakish Amar Rabbi Meir, Mayamos in Paris Chaserin. So therefore, it must mean something else. It must mean that according to Meir, water produces seepage, and it's water on the other side. And but they're lack. Then whatever comes the outside is lack on the inside. It's diminished, and as opposed to mashkin also bears enachaser, and the other beverages they seep through, but they don't. They're not. There's no volume missing on the inside, and Rabbi Yomer ein mashkin osim peres kolika. It says no. We don't see the other mashkin don't do seep out at all. So the even though perhaps there's a little bit which does seep out, it's not considered to have significance, and therefore it's not going to be machshel kabel tuma in the case in those cases. So the I'm not sure how the Gemara actually is resolving its issue. Let's read it again. Okay, so lo tzurcha the law Rabbi Yehuda. This seems to be only a case for Rabbi Yehuda, who's matir in our Mishnah, matir in the Mishnah. But what about Kohen Meir? So it says Kohen Meir. There's also a principle. There's something involved as well. Shimon Lakish Amar Rabbi Meir Maimos in Paris for Chaserin, and then they have the Mishnah. It's a Mashkelos in Paris for Chaserin, and Rabbi Yomer and Mashkelos in Paris Kolikar. Umad Amar Rabbi Yechanan. That was Rabbi Yochanan said. When went by Rabbi the Great Kesar, Lumot Torah. To learn, for you to know him, Chamit say that we put our small cakes, agabe kavlutin, shamurias, on covered containers of the murias, which is the oil, fatty fish and brine. We taste the taste of the murias through the closed cover. The low Rabbi Yehuda seems it's not like Rabbi Yehuda. Says Gemara, no, it could be like Rabbi Yehuda. Mahalimen hayu. They would dunk the chamita in the murias, which would which is called hilmi, which is water with a lot of salt. And I guess that they call them murias. The murias is a form of mahalimin because it has a lot of water and salt in it. Anyway, so Enechami, nothing gets absorbed, nothing seeps through the cover, but here they actually dumped it. So what does it mean? Then assume Shum cares about bites. Whoever owns the fish brine. What you have to dunk your bread in this fish brine? No, Yerushalmi to Baal Bais. They got permission from the Baal Bais. So since they got permission from the Baal Bais, so therefore it was a problem. And in fact, it was dunked. So initially, the Gemara wanted to say, I guess that according to Rabbi Yechon, we see that there is seepage, even according to, and this is Karan's question, right? When you go do with Rabbi Yechon, there's no seepage. And the Gemara says, no, there is taka, no seepage, and Um, perhaps it's not a contradiction. Perhaps it was like Rabbi Yossi, that's Pasorim, etc. But in this scenario, it's not a right either way because there they actually dunked the pass into the Murios. Okay, that is it for today. I want to add, going back a bit, that the article brings down here about the issue where Yerushalmi Terumos said about water is chaser when it seeps, and the other mashkin are not chaser seep. Who cares? It says nafkamina is we see the water, the volume of the water on the inside is of the chavis is not diminished at all, so there was no seepage. And then the wasn't machshir, the kabel tuma, the peros on the other side of the chavis, on the other side of the wall. But by other mashkin, even we don't see anything missing, the volume on the inside, there could have been seepage to the other side. And according to Mayer, well, that seepage has a status of has a status of mashkin, so then it would be machshir l'kabel tuma. Okay, that is to the on to the first two dots on Tzad Gimel. We'll start.